All right, well, welcome to the Sierra Interactive Biweekly Mastermind. I'm Scott DeRuiter, Director of Channel Sales and Partners here at Sierra, and we are excited for a great session this morning. We have, first of all, we have the CEO of Workman Success Systems, Verl Workman, who's joined us. They pretty much are a coach for high-performing teams all across the country. And we're also joined today by Jeff Biebuyck, and Jeff runs the Front Gate Real Estate team out of the Calabasas, California area. So we're excited to have both of you join us, and I know we're in for a great treat today. So unlike we normally do, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over here to Verl in a moment. I'd love for you guys all to kind of put in the chat where you're calling in from, and hey, we're going to do something different today. Go ahead and turn on your cameras and join us and be participatory in our session today. So this is something that we haven't done in the past, but I want you to know that you're able to turn on the cameras and join us. So anyway, Verl, over to you, my friend. Thank you again.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having us. I appreciate Sierra Interactive and for their energy and excitement and the tools and resources they provide so many of our clients. And so it's fun to do some business together. Many of you are seeing us right now. We're promoting you to a panelist, and it's kind of a special opportunity as we promote you to panelist to turn on your video. Here's what Jeff and I have learned as we've done a few of these together, that if we have people, I've learned that when you turn your video on, that you're more engaged, that you listen to the conversations, that you understand what's going on. And so I'm going to ask you to turn your video on if you get promoted to a panelist. I think that we're going through and promoting a bunch of panelists. And the other thing is, as we get into questions, I'm going to be monitoring questions and see where you're from. We got people from Eagle. Oh, I love Eagle, Idaho, by the way. Raleigh, North Carolina, Albuquerque. We have suburbs of Louisiana, College, Pennsylvania. It's great. A lot of people.
That's State College. I know where that is. I went to Penn State University, so go Penn State. Vicky, I think Vicky from State College. Woohoo!
Yeah, Penn State. That's funny because I went to the Rose Bowl 2 years ago, and it was Penn State and the University of Utah in the Rose Bowl. And I knew when the Penn State band came out, they were going to kick our trash because their band was so much bigger than our band. Like, it was just a whole different world as they came out there. It was so fun to do that. So please turn your video on. I'm looking for you to turn video on and make video available just so you pay attention. Also, it gives us the ability to see who you are and watch your body language. We have a very special guest with us today. Jeff Biebuyck out of Calabasas is not only a high-performing real estate agent, but he's a phenomenal individual and a true giver. When I met Jeff several years ago, his real estate team was doing well, and he wanted to grow, and he wanted to do some different things. I thought that we were pretty good, and we'd helped a lot of people with luxury and high-end real estate until we really started getting into who Jeff's clients are and the kind of real estate that they do. And you'll be surprised to learn that, Calabasas is where the Kardashians live, and it's where a lot of the stars live. There's a lot of high-dollar real estate that goes on there. And when I tell you a little bit about Jeff's background, and we kind of get into it today, you're going to realize that this is someone who's not a pretender in luxury real estate, but someone who understands how to use tools, technology, trade secrets. He's been a great coaching client. He follows coaching advice and does the work and has had just tremendous success and growth. When a lot of people are struggling, Jeff leans in. And so, Jeff, I want to just say thank you for doing this with me. I'm glad that you're here, and welcome to the call with us today.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. Really excited to do this. It'll be entertaining for sure. We'll make sure it is.
Well, so let me share my screen with everybody, and we'll just kind of start having a conversation. Rob's joined in his video. Anybody else that gets turned on to video, I'm going to encourage you to do that. We'll have more fun if you do. I promise. Maybe we'll give some stuff away. You guys are going to want some free stuff. All right. So, it's funny. Everybody likes to talk about all the things they did well in life, Jeff. In this call, we call this From Screw-Ups to Success. The reason we titled it that is because, I don't know, I think I learn more when people are real and they tell me about the things they messed up instead of telling me about all the things they did well. And if I, as a coach, can learn from other people's mistakes and help my clients from keeping those same mistakes, then we all win. And so I appreciate you being willing to do that. So, Jeff, give us a little bit of background. I love your rock star background. So from a rock star to a realtor, give us a little bit of background. Who are you and where do you come from? How did you get here?
I knew you were going to dig this stuff up. So,
I love it. It's Axl Rose. I recognize that picture.
oh yeah. So, from Detroit originally, and I was playing in clubs, but I was also working in the automotive industry as a tool engineer. So that's what you do in Detroit. You know, you grow up in the big three, and play in rock bands, and then you go work on tools or at one of the automotive industries. So anyway, I got into rock bands, ended up in California through, it's another long story, but yeah, I was at the Sunset Strip when Guns N' Roses were that's us when we were kids before Guns N' Roses took off. We play shows with those guys. One of my best friends, Joe, he's Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player. He played with him through all the Ozfest and everything. And then the one above it, it's at the Viper Room. I think we maybe did that like a year or two ago or something like that. So, all us old guys get back up on stage once in a while and grease the pipes and go back out there.
Well,
So
I think it's a lot of fun. But what was that lifestyle like? I mean, living on the road and warming up for big
well,
groups and
well, I mean, there's homeless and then there's starving artists, and there's a very, very, very fine line in between. So, when we were out here, I came out with $50 and, you sang for food, literally. And sometimes you end up on park benches if you didn't do too well. So, it wasn't easy. I loved it. It was, one day you'd end up on Sunset Plaza in some mansion, hanging out with these people and sleeping on their couches. And some days you were taking showers at the Y and walking through Rock and Roll Ralph's, they called it, and, eating your way through the grocery store to stay alive. So,
Well, it sounds like not much has changed then, Jeff, really.
not much,
Yeah.
especially this year. But yeah, so I mean, I just kind of, I've always been my authentic self because I don't know how to do anything else. And the interesting part of just coming from entertainment and getting on a stage and then going into real estate and then managing agents, I just kind of looked at them and said, man, these guys are just like rock band. They're rock stars. Every one of them's a rock star and they're all in their little bands. And but Mick Jagger doesn't, he doesn't drive the bus to the next gig. He's got somebody driving the bus and he's not the manager collecting the money. He gets up there and does his thing. So I'm like, well, why don't I put together something, and I need structure and I need tools and I need to get leads from somewhere and I need to have coaching to figure out how to keep my rock stars and manage them and keep them on stage. And that was just systems, and it was operations, and it was pretty much anything else. Because, Mick Jagger's driving to the next gig. He's going to drive off the road if he's too tired, And, one thing at Workman, what we've learned is that they teach you that, just being in front of clients, prospecting, negotiating contracts, and meeting with clients. Those are the three top things you should be doing. Everything else should be delegated, or, getting on a team or figuring out a way to, to keep that rock star on stage. Otherwise they burn out, and they end up like I did on the park bench. So,
hey, Jeff, tell us a little bit about your current team. What does your team look like today?
So I got about 18 agents. Love every one of them. They're family members. I created a team, 4 teams, and I think like an agent. I'm still an agent. I dive deep and work with them side by side every day. And I understand what they go through because I go through it with them. So as they hit certain struggles, I want to feel that same pain so I can go in and figure out how to fix it, adjust it, and, and live through it. And through that, which is why we named it, I guess this is just, the screw ups. I used to hate mistakes, being a musician, making a mistake, singing out of key, missing a line, not cool. And the rest of the band would get really ticked off too. So, I didn't like screwing up. Now, later on in life, and as we go through this, those mistakes that I make are the biggest learning lessons every step. And every mistake I've made, I cherish. And some of them cost a lot of money. And some of them, that money that you spent, you'd if you were smart about it and learn from the mistake and not repeat it, that you would, you can double and triple your income. And
so Jeff, you have a partner. Dan. Tell me about her.
Yeah, so Dana, my partner, we've been together selling for 15 years.
What's your average sales price?
Well, this year it's about 2.3. It was in the 3 to 5 range, prior to that. The team's about a 1.3 to 1.5 average price range. We did about $250,000 $250 million in sales the year before. This year, we're down 50-60%.
Wow.
So
And
the market changes, but still over 100 million is a big business. You got a good business going on in an area where a lot of people are struggling. So this is just from a Verl talking fun. What's the highest property you sold? What's the most expensive property you sold?
in the 30 million range. Yeah, so close to 30 mil.
How many of you want just one of those in your career? My hand's up on this. I just want to sell one. Just give me one of those.
Guess what? It's harder to sell a $200,000 house to a first-time home buyer. Just letting you know.
It's easier to sell 30 million.
It is. It really is. You just have to learn a couple things here and there and just, talk to people. I think it's just a comfort level of just being your authentic self in front of people and letting them feel that, not getting nervous and talking to them like a regular human because they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like we do. And just kind of keeping that in mind and not getting intimidated. No human should intimidate another human, in any instance, because we're just humans, So,
you've been on Sierra for a few years. Tell me about kind of your experience and what are some of the things you've discovered?
Well, this is actually a good slide because you can see in that upper corner with the arrow coming up to about 14,000 leads. And that was accumulated over 3 or 4 years. And by the way, that we had to turn the faucet off, as of really, recently, because it was just too much coming in. And one of the mistakes I've realized is that as they were coming in, I wasn't doing my job with teaching agents on how to follow up properly. And it's really exciting to get a lead. I'm not sure what the national average is, but you can get into $50-$60 per lead in our area. And I don't know, if you just put $60 on the table and look at it, and then you have a lead come in and say, yeah, I'll get to that later, knowing that if you wait a day or an hour or 3 days or a week, you might as well just took that $60 and did anything else with it, because, and it's just the phone call, man. It's people are reaching out to you. This is not door knocking. This is not cold calling. This is not calling expired listings. They're coming into you and here's my number, here's my hand. Now they might just be trying to get a picture of or see a photo of the house or whatever, but they came out to you and it's a very simple pitch. This lead that came in, all right, this is a funny one. Look at that, 830 days away. This is this morning, because if you look at the date, 5:06 a.m., you can see how early I was up this morning. But this person has 830 days has been in the system, and she popped back in and she's looking at $1.4 to $1.5 million houses, and she looked at one this morning.
So let me just interject here. So really what's happening here, this is a behavioral trigger that's built into Sierra. It's part of one of the automations and the workflows, so that basically Jeff got notified when this person's IP address, in a sense, came back to the website, who had been away for those 830 days, and it sent him a notification, created a task in his inbox for his agents to let him know, hey, you may not, you might want to go out to Somber V here and reach out. So that's what's happening here, and how Jeff knew that this person had been away and came back.
I don't even want to ask, but who called her?
I delegate. Well, at 5 a.m, I didn't want to wake her up, even though she was up doing her thing. So I delegated it over to the team, and hopefully Chris did. If Chris is listening,
I love that. And this shows your history.
Yeah, and there's the history right there. So yeah, that's exactly what she's looking at. So I know it's in Woodland Hills. It's a $1.4 million listing. And it's just getting creative in the messaging, and instead of having automation, automation is incredible. Look, it's something, this will keep getting people to raise their hand, but it's going to be up to you to grab it as it comes in, and the biggest mistake that I have learned that and I don't even want to think about how much money I spent on 14,000 leads and it's not even leads or money lost. It's how many people I let down that have reached out to us for our help. So shame on me. But at the same time, you can see that after 800 some days, it's not to waste, because you have a whole cycle of leads. Sometimes people come in and out, and we've had closed on people through Sierra that were in the system 2 years, and we sold a $2.4 million listing from it. Now it's a reoccurring client. They're in our sphere of influence. And that's what we really want to do, is just kind of bring them into our funnel system. So, but that initial call, 5 minutes after the lead is received is for maximum conversion, because that's when they're on. Now, 5 a.m, someone's obviously getting out of bed doing that. So I'm not going to call. I might be a little creepy, but it's just a simple phone call. And that's when they're the hottest. That's when their hands are on the keyboard and that property is fresh in their head. Because if you reach out to them 2 or 3 days later, they might not even know what you're talking about. They might even forgot. Yeah, I was on one of those websites. I don't know,
Yeah,
I can't agree with you more. You got to catch them in the act. You have to catch them when they're in, making that inquiry, submitting that, that question. Because to your point, they could be at the grocery store in the carpool lane, off doing something else.
Yeah.
It's funny. We were just on another coaching call. Tara was on the call with me, and a lady said that, she was having a hard time getting people to re-engage. I'm like, how fast did you come? She said, well, like an hour or so after they came on. And I'm like, well, that's the problem. Like, you got to be responding within minutes of when they get there. Tara thought she was a player. She had 8,000 in her database, Jeff, 14,000. Tara, you're not a player yet. You got to up your game, get that 15,000. Run that number up there. So not making the initial call, Jeff, that's first mistake. What's the second one?
I didn't keep making that call. It takes about 8 call attempts to reach a prospect. So 9 times out of 10, I can't tell you how many of my agents and friends and other big team members, we talk about this, one and done. And they're just like, okay, put them on the drip system. They didn't pick up the phone. And it's also when you're reaching out to them, not trying to sound salesy. If you just kind of program your brain, and there's a pitch that I have in one of these screens, just keep it simple. You're not out there to solve, the real estate world, issues. And, you're really just reaching out to someone. Hey, you reached out to me authentically. Just answer their question. I see your house. You're looking at a house in Calabasas. How can I help you? I got some off-market listings. I know some, pocket listings. I know the area back and forth. I'm on the top 1% team in the country right here in your backyard. I'm the guy. I know my stuff. Hire me. And they will feel that, through the phone. They'll feel that if you feel it, if you're your authentic self. You're in the stage, you're a performer, you're in sales. It's a contact sport, and a lot of people don't realize that they're getting into a sales job, and it is a contact sport. So, I have a lot of clients, or I have a lot of agents that realize they're not salespeople. And that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that, but this is something you have to do. You got to make that phone call. And this is funny. I've dropped the ball over 10,000 times, probably more than that, meaning the leads that came in and was like, whoops, a daisy, another one just dropped and hit the ground, but I'm not going to let it stay on the ground. And I'm coming up with ways with Sierra, and they have a lot of great help. And there's a lot of stuff we're going to start implementing to help me pick that ball back up for the people that raise their hands. And it's very easy to do, because, you might have some people and think, oh my God, old dead lead, and throw it in the garbage. Well, Sierra tells you who's in there, just like it did this morning. And they're like, hey, I'm here. I'm looking. I'm using your website. Come talk to me. You wake up to opportunities every day. It's just how many you're going to drop, in the meantime. It's interesting. 44% of sales reps give up after just one follow-up, which we talked about earlier. It's there's too many potential sales that are lost just due to insufficient persistence. And that's exactly what it is. Pick up
What I say to that? We follow up until they buy or tell you to die. I want you to follow up till they file a restraining order. Like we follow up till it's over. And if you don't, someone else is going to win.
It's true. Look, at the end of the day, it's they did reach out to you. You're reaching back and you're trying to help them. And if you get your messaging of not being annoying, but really actually trying to help. Now, look, sometimes this is a true story, and Sam from my team's probably on this. Sam, we always mess around. It's like, either they raise their hand or they give you another hand signal, and it involves one of the fingers here.
Fingers.
Yeah. So, and if they do, now this guy gave Sam the finger and said, don't call me, da-da-da. And he's like, whoa. So Sam follows up with a text. He goes, I'm sorry, you must be having a bad day. I was just calling to help you. I'm the guy, that knows anything better than anyone else in the area. Here's some off-market listings. I hope you have a better day. I'll leave you alone. Da da da. Guy came back. Not only did he give him an apology, that guy did about a couple $1 million in sales with him after he was told to, you know, and most of us would, me personally, I probably would have delete button, right? But he hung in there and we just laugh about it. And it's just like, wow, that's just crazy. Because, you know, look, we're all humans. We're having bad days. We've all had them. Did you ever, you know, our phone rings, we all get those weird calls from wherever they're calling from. And it's just some pitch, whether it's local or overseas. And you know, sometimes they get through and I talk to them and I'm like, oh, wow, this is a good salesperson. They actually got me engaged from a, you know, a call. And some days I'm in a bad mood. And I'm sure we've all had the same thing when you're in the middle of something and someone calls you and you're like, get the hell out of here, right? And I could have been in a different mood that day and I could have had a conversation. So you just got to keep that in mind that we all misfire a little bit here and there and don't take it personal.
So Jeff, you talked about off-market properties or whatever. Like, how important is it that you have something different to offer when you talk to people? You always sound like you've got something a little bit unique or different that you're going to give them they can't get anywhere else.
Well, this market now that it has shifted, and I know it shifted because, you know, I thought my team was bulletproof. I thought we were Superman, and here comes a kryptonite and just cripples us, right? You know, we had, besides the national stuff, we had some really bad local stuff. In Calabasas, we got hit with the Woolsey fires. We all got evacuated, and now the insurance companies pulled out of California, and I can't get anybody's properties insured properly. And if they do get insured, they're more than the property taxes are. Coupled with the 7%, coupled with the mansion tax, you know that California has a tax right now that if a house is sold for over $4 million in the city of Los Angeles, there's a 4.5% transfer fee tax, and that's not on what you make, it's what it sells for, that goes to the homeless. This is to help, you know, and God bless trying to help the homeless because it's a big issue out here. I just don't think that was the way to do it. And by the way, if it's over 10 million, it's 5.5%. So you try to tell your client that's selling a $10 million house that they get to give $550,000 to basically the government to go into a pot to where you really don't know where this money is going to the homeless. So, you know, so we've been
the government does a good job at taking care of our money, don't they?
Yeah, especially in California. So,
but yeah, and that's like number one rule is like we should avoid politics, right?
Yeah. So we're all, you know, none of us are impervious to kryptonite. Right? Life, you wake up, it's going to deal you with a deck of cards, and, you know, it's how you play the hand. It's really what it comes down to. And that's just how life works. So now what's happened is it turned this into a skill-based market, right? So what Verl was saying earlier is it's like, you know, what knowledge, what's your knowledge worth? Knowledge is worth everything. And being a local expert is worth everything. That's all we have. They don't need us to go find a house for them. They go on Zillow now, or they go on all these different sites, you know, wherever they find these, you know, how many of us have had our clients, you know, get a phone call, hey, I want to see that one on Colette Drive. I'm like, I'm driving. What are you talking about? I have no, you know, they're telling me. So when the keys were given away, and now they can look that up, and now they can also look up what's owed. They can look up if it's been on the market before. So that was taken away from us. We are not the gatekeepers. So I'm like, crap, we better get really skilled here and be able to communicate that the proper way. Workman has really done an incredible job with teaching us that. So sorry, bro, go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about what you could have done differently. You jump into action plans and plugging into the systems and let them really do their work.
Yeah, I mean, three things I think speed the lead. You know, get to that within 5 minutes. If you can't do it, get someone else to do it. Get an internal sales agent. There's plenty of companies up there that can get a live call, and they can just call. Hey, I'm calling from Jeff's office. He wanted me to get a hold of you today about this property. Would you like any information, or would you like to see it? I can set you an appointment up right now. It doesn't have to be you, you know. And again, remember, Mick Jagger is not driving to the next, you know, let someone else do the work if you can't do the work yourself. Don't drop that call, because none of us are sitting here staring at our phone, you know, waiting for it to call all day. So have a system for that. And then create content for that initial contact. What is your script? What are you saying? What is your initial thing you're going to say that's going to make them have that aha moment of like, I like that guy. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And he sounds sincere. I want some of that, and follow up. It takes about 8 times to really connect. And if you just get that messaging right and you don't seem annoying and you get the right messaging that you're authentically trying to help them, they're going to hear that and they will eventually pick up the phone or at least answer to one of your texts. Hey, I'm busy right now. Sure. Give me a call back,
Yeah, before you move off of that, just to go back to, if you go back a slide, Verl, real quick, and calling 8 times, sounds simple, but I think a lot of times agents have a hard time keeping track of which ones they've called, who they haven't called, if they've called them 6 times, 3 times. And a feature that Sierra offers is called lists. It's called like your action list that you can build, and you have all these micro, filters that you can apply. So you can say a lead that's come in the last week that has been called less than 8 times, and it'll literally put a list together for you of all those leads that you need to now go through and call again to try to hit that ceiling or that threshold of those 8 calls. So it's a really powerful tool inside of Sierra.
Yeah, and it's empty your bucket. That's really what it comes down to. Here's your call list. How easy is that, right? It tells you who to call. So yeah, and so the pitch, it's just keep it really simple. Hey Mark, it's Jeff from Frontgate, one of the leading national teams based right here in Calabasas, where you're searching for a home. I just had some questions about what you're looking for. You can call or text me back. So always try to get them to ask a question to get them to come back. Now that would have been a message, right? If I got them on a phone, I would have probably done it a little bit differently. But I kind of throw people off because and I've learned that first line is everything, right? Because I never use, hey, Mark, it's Jeff. How are you today? I don't know you. So why do I care how you're doing? Right. So that comes across a little authentic. And that's what everybody does. How are you today? Do you really care? Don't ask if this is a ridiculous thing to say. But one thing to do is say, hey, Mark, it's Jeff over at Frontgate. Hey, you're just looking on properties right now. I wanted to help you out. You got a second? And that's a yes or no question, right? Either buy or buy, and you're going to know that second of what's kind of going on.
I love the simplicity of that. We way overcomplicate what to say. We try and be fancy and trick people into things. It's like, hey, what's up? What are you looking at? I love that.
Just like that, just like Verl did. Hey, what's up? What's going on? They love that. That's human, and that's awesome. The other thing is, and here's me in the studio I'm sitting in right now this morning, and I'm like, I just spent $46 on the lead because I looked it up. Am I going to take that extra step? So if someone said, hey, here's $50, right? Are you going to just wait on this one and just take that risk that you're never going to get communication? Or are you going to take that extra step? Because last time I checked, when and believe me, you saw that park bench thing, sleeping on being home, you start to really going, why, what's $50? Well, I know what $50, is, especially when you're starving. But leaving a personal message, and I don't know if you can, does this play if you hit the play button, maybe?
Give it a shot.
Hey, Summer, it's Jeff over at Frontgate. Reached out to me about some properties in Calabasas. Sent you over a couple options. I have some off-market properties that I think would fit your criteria. Anyway, I just wanted to say hi, put the face to the name, and I would love to help you. Give me a call if you have any questions. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Now that wasn't the message I sent because I was really tired because it was 5 in the morning, so my energy level was down. But being authentic.
Woke me up at 5 o'clock. What are you thinking?
Yeah, right. But here's a person, here's a human, a face to the name, and I'm not afraid to show myself. I'm here in an office. It's a recording studio, and I have tattoos, and and they'll probably look at that guy like, who is this guy? Why is he calling me? What the heck? But they're going to remember me next time. And even if they don't respond to it, they're like, oh, there's the face to the name, and I'll do another one. So if you're leaving messages or a text, leave a if you're going to leave a text, do a video text. That's going to get you 10 times more. If you're going to take the time to send a text, they're getting text all day long. Now they're getting notifications for everything. Put your face in there. Get on stage. You're performing. Let them see you. Be authentic. Eye contact. It's super important. You're not there to help. You're there to help them. You're out there to hunt them. If they feel hunted, what do animals do when you're hunting them? They run. Right. Well, humans are animals that do the same thing, it's just like, and we get buried more deeper and deeper into, technology. We used to be able to break through it, but think about this on expired listings. And you guys know this, expired listings, phone starts ringing at 5 or 6 in the morning. After the second one, they're not answering the phone anymore, period. Expired listings, leave them a video text or just send them a nice, a handwritten note. Be authentic. Don't be the guy just sitting there just, dialing for dollars. And once you get these into your system, once you get them into the funnel, once they raise their hand, and once you have a conversation, you have to have a segment of time to know where to put them. And this is the ABC lead management system at Workman. It's literally easy as 1, 2, 3. And what I love about Verl is like everything to me is like a coloring book. It's so simple. You're like, no, there's more to it. And when I first signed up for coaching, I was kind of like, come on, man, give me the big complex stuff and like tell me how to do the Rubik's Cube of real estate here. And he's like, yeah, pick up the phone, dude. Or when things get tough, and I always joke around, if Verl gets a phone call at 7:30 at night on a Friday, he knows I need some help, And Verl, what do you usually tell me every time I call you? And what do I usually do?
Yeah, right. It's usually about 5 deals fell through. We had 100 million drop out in the last 30 days. We got to figure something out. We just tell them to get on the phone and go list houses. We got to figure out how to engage with people and stop whining. It's time to buckle down and get to work. And we talk about specific things that are activities that will make a difference. And what makes Jeff unique is he actually does the work. There's a lot of people that you give advice to or you give counsel to, and then afterwards they go, well, that was a waste of breath, but they don't actually implement anything that you shared with them. And what makes Jeff unique and his partner Dan is that they do the work. The A, B's, and C's is not just an A, B, and a C lead. It's like an A lead is somebody you set an appointment with. A B lead you call twice a month during the weeks that the 1st and the 15th falls in. A C lead you call once a month during the week of the 8th. We set it up inside Sierra so it automatically lets us know when it's an A, a B, or a C. And then we have an automated, the entire team following up with it's B lead week. We all call the B leads and we have great dialogue and we follow up with them, and it's systematic approach to conversion. It's not just that it's a simple concept, but it's a really high level execution of a simple concept. And that's what separates the average from the exceptional. You don't get to the level where Jeff and his team are producing if you ignore the basic fundamentals. You have to be a high level of execution of those basic fundamentals, Jeff. So I don't get very many of those midnight calls with you, those late night calls.
Well, because now I know what to do. It's like, okay, I'm like, I know what he's going to say. So just do it, dummy, and I do it.
You wish your kids always did what they knew you were going to say?
Yeah, it takes a while though. It takes a minute or two. So, but yeah, and from a mindset, it's just everything's a funnel. Just met. Those leads that come in through Sierra are just met. I have to build that relationship. I have to earn the trust, and how I earn the trust is with knowledge and with sincerity and with and just helping people out. And these are people who come in open house, online leads, newsletter signups, cold referrals. Those are the top. And then where do I go? Now I have to figure out where do I put them in the system, and that's basically where they're at in the process of buying a house or buying or selling. And maybe they don't want to at all, and that's fine. We'll put them on a drip system and let them looky-loo and look at their neighbors' listings and all that kind of stuff. It's fine with us. But you got to ask that question, and that's what your first phone call is. How can I help you, and when and where? And that's it, and then you're like, I'm looking in the summertime. Well, it's going to be a C because it's based on C is not a bad lead. C just means a little bit longer set of a time, all the way up to an A, which they're in your car. They're pre-qualified. You are going to get them in a house today or tomorrow or this week or whenever you find it. And those are your highest priorities, obviously. And then once you get them all in there, obviously past an A for us is a top 50. And these are the people that are most likely to refer us once a year minimum. And those are the people that we've all put into our database that, we have events for 4 events a year to invite them to, or we have vendor lists that we share with them, blogs, whatever, newsletters, just take care of people and, being that source of information when they need insurance providers, whatever.
By the way, Jeff, I love that funnel. I'm totally going to steal that slide from you. I love the whole funnel, taking it down from the CBs and A's and into your top 50. And I thought I'd share with everybody, like the top 50 isn't, you kind of put that on steroids. What was your thought when I first told you about this?
I just thought it was, I didn't think it was possible because I couldn't think. And then when you did, it was the math that really did it for me. He said, okay, if you have 250 people, right, we'll just call it 250. There's this thing called the is Pareto rule, which is,
Pareto principle. Yep.
yeah, 80% of your business is going to be coming from 20% of your database. Well, out of 250, you do the math on that, that's 50, right? Those 50 people, if my price, let's just call it a $2 million average sales price, and I get one referral from 50 people, and when I get referrals, we've got a pretty high close ratio, like 90%. So if you do all the backwards math on that, that's a 30, 40, $50 million a year for us. So I'm thinking to myself, going, wait a minute. So the people that I know, love, and that trust me, and I love them, and I like having events and hanging out with them, they're going to probably give me referral, not just one. When you get a really good referral source, you'll get 2, 5. Then that starts to turn into some real math, and then the one thing that I always tell my agents, which they don't understand, is they're like, give me more leads, give me the Glengarry leads, give me some at bats, great. That's top of funnel, but I can't earn what's at the bottom of the funnel. I can guide you there, but it's going to be up to you and how authentic and how much you want to help people out, because that, when you get them down there and help them out and you get them in those top 50, nobody's ever going to take that away from you. Not a Zillow or not a shift in the market or a broker or competition. That's yours. You've earned that, and it's never going to go away, ever. You're always going to make money from it. Always.
So Scott, if it's okay with you, I'll give it at the end of the webinar today. I'll give everybody a QR code and a link, and I'll give everybody the ebook 8651, how to close 86 deals a year, working with 50 people, 1 hour a day. These are zero cost leads, and it's rocket science. Jeff, have you ever had an agent that worked their top 50 fail?
Never. They don't keep track of it properly, but that you learn in the systems on how to keep track of it. And once you do, you start realizing that it drives you even harder. Once you bring awareness to it, and you see how easy it actually is, boy, I can't explain that. That's my whole mission, is to get my agents to a top 50 list that gives back,
I love that Jeff put this slide in here. He's like, hey, I'm building my network. I've got all these partners all over the world that refer business to me, and I refer business to them. This is how to connect with Jeff and become a referral partner. If you'd like to do more high dollar real estate, have a partner in Calabasas, then I encourage you to grab the QR code right now and connect with FrontGate. The people in this world, there's not very many people that put their information out there and say, I'd like to connect with you like Jeff. And there's not very many people that do the volume or the high dollar real estate like he does. And he's a good person to have in your database. So I encourage you to connect with Jeff, and he's a giver. So you get by giving. That's what I've learned, Jeff.
Yeah. And by the way, this referral network, we have a lot of people moving out of California right now. So, if you're in Nashville, Texas, or wherever, and it doesn't have to be high dollar. I mean, we'll sell a doghouse, because if it's a client that needs a service, that wants to get a condo for their kid, literally, like, we're in, we're of service mind. We don't care about the price point. But what we do is, in our referral network, not only do we feature your listings, and let's just say you're in an area where you're looking for that California buyer, we will promote your listing for you to California buyers. And we'll also refer you people out your way, because we know you follow up with people properly, and we create that relationship. So it's a really fun program, and just scan that, fill it out, and we'd love to talk to you.
So I love that. I love that the concept is that I believe that in this industry that there's a big that we don't do a good enough job promoting each other and elevating the quality of the really good agents in the marketplace. And there's a great opportunity for top people who really are at the top of their game to start promoting the value of working with other agents that are professional, that do the right things for their clients, that have listings. This is something we've talked a little bit about, Jeff. We've talked about kind of how we've moved from a market where if you could fog a mirror, you could sell a house. And, the agents that were good planners, they could build these great elaborate plans, and with limited skills and limited action, they could sell a home. The last several years, I would say the last 6 or 7 years, if they just showed up. I mean, how many times have you seen agents that get licensed? They come into the marketplace, they bring 3 or 4 deals with them, they make 100 grand, and then they think it's easy. And now all of a sudden, you're doing the same activities, but you don't have any skills, and you don't have the right plan. The agents aren't selling anything. And so what's happened is we've moved from an action and a plan-based market to a skills-based market. And the agents that have the skills today that are focused on skills development, they're learning how to do ABCs, they're working their top 50s, they're giving more value to their clients, they're becoming neighborhood experts, they know what off-market properties mean and how to find them, they understand mortgage and ways that they can get people around things. The agents that have the skills are the only ones that are surviving in today's market. Jeff, what are you seeing in California from a skills-based market, going from an action-based market to a skills-based market? What do you see?
Well, I saw about, I don't know, 16, 17,000, I don't know the exact number, but that did not, up their dues, basically, that basically exited the market, because it just looked fun with $1 million listing and flip it or flop it and all that kind of stuff. So, that's cute and all, but at the end of the day, we're here to offer services to people, just like an attorney would, just like an accountant or anything else. We can't mess around with that. We have to be the best of the best for them to come back, and if they feel that and that value of you, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to go talk to the other guy or the DNA deal for somebody else of, a friend's brother, sister's uncle's cousin got a real estate license, because the biggest transaction in their life to be entrusted with somebody that really knows their stuff, regardless of what price point it is it's invaluable. And that's something that just doesn't come overnight, that you just don't learn. You don't learn it overnight. You learn it over time. You learn it by being on a team. You learn it from coaching, and that's the only way you can really build your skills.
I think it's interesting that people kind of take one or two approaches. A lot of people pull back and they stop spending money. Other people come into coaching and they say, now's the time that I've got to develop my skills to be better, because I haven't had to have them in the past. And that's who we talk to every single day. Is we don't talk people into coming in to coaching or joining Workman or any of those things. But whether you use Workman or somebody else, there's a lot of great coaches out there. Now is the time that you should be leaning into and looking for the additional help. You just need to make sure that whoever you align with has the ability to help you develop and hone your skills and to be better than the average agent. This next slide kind of gives you a little bit of an indicator of what it means. We track everything. We track calls, conversations, appointments set, appointments met, conversion ratios across hundreds of the best teams all over the country, United States and Canada. And here's what we know. In 2019, it took 167 calls to get a closing. In 2020, it took 134. In 2021, fog a mirror, you could sell a house, 127. And then all of a sudden, in 2022, it got a little harder, didn't it? And y'all felt it, but you didn't really track it and know what it meant. You can't keep doing. In 2023, it went to 222. You can't do in 2024 what you were doing in 2020 and hope to get the same closing. We have changed. You have to do more, you have to make more greater effort, and you have to have better systems and dialogues. You have to offer more value to the consumer, or they're not going to engage with you. And if you're not tracking and understanding those things, you're not going to get the results that you need. What I'm teaching people today, Jeff, and you can validate this or not, but you have to have massive action if you want to get a massive result. A lot of people are trying to stay in business right now and they're barely treading water, doing some basic fundamentals. And now's not the time to dink around. It's the time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. What kind of work are you doing today to make sure you don't have the same kind of year as you did last year? What massive action are you taking?
Calls.
Yeah, I mean, and I think real quick though, it ties right into, you have to have the systems, you have to have the platform, you have to have that tool to kind of keep all this in line for you and keep it, keep your metrics, to measure your metrics, how many calls you made and all those kind of good things as well. Sorry, you're going to say something, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, I mean, you just really you need 2 times the volume of leads, so to dial back is crazy, because if it's going to take, 50% more effort from what Verl just showed in making those calls, you need 50% more leads. So more leads, you need more leads to make more calls. And that's that's the action right there. We all kind of avoid, making that call. I don't know why it's so hard, but for a lot of people, it's hard to do.
And Jeff, you need more leads. I know you talked about how you kind of throttled down because your database was large enough, but some agencies databases aren't that large. One of the things that Sierra does offer is working with either a Google pay-per-click campaign, or if you do have a large database and you've brought leads into it, we also work with Facebook retargeting and remarketing campaigns. So depending on where you are, if you have a big database, you just need to kind of mix them up a little bit and get them and shake the tree a little bit. Or if you need to truly fill your funnel with additional opportunities, Sierra does it with a minimum of $500 ad spend, $50 a month management fee. Some markets we can even go down as low as $250, depending on how the PPC costs are in that market. So anyway, massive results. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom line is massive action gets massive results. And if you don't take some kind of massive action, whether it's getting a coach or getting a better system or upping your ad spend or, just following up with your past leads and getting into your database and resurrecting the dead leads with new dialogue and systems, you have to take massive action today. You cannot just sit on the sidelines and hope your people re-engage. We have to message differently to the marketplace, Jeff. It's not optional, is it?
Yeah, and it's not that hard. I think it's just more of a mental mindset and tuning your brain into, I'm here to service people. I'm calling up to say hi. I don't have to get incredibly crazy with a script. You know your stuff already. If someone asks you about interest rates and asks you about stuff, you know it. It's already in. If you're actively working every day, it's in you already. It's just that initial reach out. And it's just being that so authentic and just keeping it so simple. I can't even emphasize how important that is just to not make it that important, if that makes sense.
We're all creatures of habit. I'm a big Og Mandino fan, and in The Greatest Salesman in the World, he says that the difference between those who are successful and those who fail is the difference in their habits. Good habits unlock the door to success, and bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. And so in the first scroll, he talks about that. We created this tool that I'm going to give everybody. It's called the Daily Success Habits Tracker. And it's where you track the things that you do that are dollar productive activities with the goal of getting 61 points a day doing money-making activities. What happens when you track your money-making activities, and what's the results you see?
It's mind-boggling because the amount of work when you actually do this it seems like a big pile. It just looks like you're climbing Mount Everest. But it's not, because if you just sit there and look at your leads, look at the buckets that Sierra creates for you, and look at when you get them down to your ABC and your timelines, you focus on your A's first. Those are the people closest. What's one thing I can do today to my client that I got all the way into this funnel here? What's one thing I can do every day for this person to make the needle move? And that could be, hey, you know what? I'm going to call all the successful agents that have sold in that area. I'm going to call 20 of them today and see if they got something else. And you know what? I can't tell you how many times, yeah, I got something off market. Great. I have something of value to go back to my client with. And that's where the magic happens. And it doesn't take that much time. It really doesn't. And then you're creating really good relationships with other outside agents, which is what you want. And all of a sudden you got this phantom inventory now that nobody else has. And now you can go to these other leads because you know about this other off-market listing, and it just snowballs because you're engaged. And that's it. Handwritten notes. You talk to somebody, amazing. Just saying, hey, it was great talking to you, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to write that many of them. You could write a couple a day. But going down the list and even just picking through some, I don't door knock. I obviously don't do open houses. But I did a lot of them when I was starting out. But I would just double down on parts of the other list and make sure that I did it. And most of the time, closing and offer writtens are the bigger points. That's great, but eventually there's going to be the days that's not there, and you got to fill it up, and you got to just sow this. You basically got to sow the seeds. So.
When it's funny when people look at this, you wonder what the most important metric is that you track, and it depends on what your goals are. But for me, It's buyer or listing appointments. It's when you get face to face, you go on a buyer appointment or a listing appointment. And if I want to sell 50 houses this year, I'm going to do listings, I need to go on 100 listing appointments because I'm going to get half of them. And so 100 listing appointments is 2 a week. And so the number one matrix, what happens when we start tracking the things is the calls, the emails, and the notes are all designed to get us the one thing that matters the most, which is those 2 appointments that we need every week. And if you get 2 appointments a week, the money always takes care of itself. So you got to figure out, and that's probably where most people don't know. What they don't know is how to figure out what the one thing they focused on that will give them the result that they need from a financial perspective. You make $1 million a year in commissions, you make 2 million, 3 million, it's just a number. Once you understand what your number is, then we work backwards into the activities that generate those results. I'm going to give this to everybody right now. This is your ABCs of lead management, the system. I'm going to give it to everybody. Scott, anyone that's on this call, I'll leave this active for a while. I'm going to give you the 8650-1 ebook or ebook. I don't know what an ebook is, but we missed that typo. And then the top 50 tracker. And that's how we track the top 50. So that's usually not something we give away. That's for our private clients, but we'll give you the ebook that shows you what to do, and then the full tracking system on how to track your top 50. And what I'm going to tell you to do is, even though you're using a powerful CRM like a Sierra, track it in the top 50, because I want you to think about them differently. And after you've done it my way for 6 months, then we'll transmit them and put them back into Sierra and run it a different way. But I want you to follow the system the way that it's laid out. Greatness, ladies and gentlemen, is predictable. And so is average. And if you track the things the way I teach you to track it, I'm going to tell you whether you're going to get an average result or whether you're going to get an exceptional result. The people who track the right things, these are the commission they've earned in the last 12 months. That which gets measured gets done. We know that how many points it takes to get a closing, how many listing presentations it takes to get a listing, and how many buyer presentation it takes to get a contract. And when you start tracking those things, you start seeing that there's trends and numbers that we follow. You don't have to guess. In markets where people are down 30 or 40%, we got clients making 3 million, 4 million, 6 million, and others. So if your name's not on the list and you're not in the income area, this isn't gross sales. This is commission income for people that are doing the activities that Jeff is sharing with you right now. Business is predictable. Jeff, as you're working with these high dollar clients, buyers and sellers, what are some of the things that, just a couple of advice tips that you would give people that want to increase their average sales price?
So one thing we do on our team is, it's easier said than done, right? When I met Dana 15 years ago, she was in this Hidden Hills area, and it was a closed network. You couldn't get in there. It was protected. It was a fortress, and all the agents that kind of played with each other, and it didn't let anybody else in. It was annoying. And I'm like, man, how do I get in there? I'm like, well, maybe I should just join this cool lady. And if I can convince her, to take me on, I can help her out with her operations, because I'd run other companies before and did some cool operation stuff. And she probably needs my help there. So once we got in there, it was like, okay, so now, wow, there's an open house. I can go sit this open house at a $5 million listing. Well, that's attracting $5 million buyers, right? And if you do that every weekend and you have that opportunity, great. And it doesn't have to be your listing or someone else. It could be anybody else's, depending on, whatever your rules and regulations are, or somebody within your company. That's how you meet these people. We put our team postcards out to our 250 people that come into our database for each of our agents. We send 2 postcards a month of, all different price point stuff, from $700,000 condos. Yes, we do this, to like, check out this $10 million one, right? And then when some of my agents go to school to pick up their kids, they're like, wow, Terry, you're crushing it. Oh my God, you're selling properties left and right. And, because she's on the team, and we share that. And that moves the price point up. And it's just kind of focusing on what you focus on. And I mean, I think the easiest thing is just do an open house. Any of you guys ever want to share any of the listings we have? I'll give you here, take the images and just say, hey, check out this cool property. I'll give them to you. I don't care. It's promoting my listings. Bring me a buyer from anywhere in the country. We just give that information up because, we're here to serve the client, not to just to hog the listing and not share it with anyone else, or give them the opportunities that we do to sell it. If that makes sense. So
So I love that. So let's take this. We have a couple minutes left. Anybody that has any questions for Jeff or for myself or for Scott, go into the chat box real quick and type your questions. We'll do our best to answer them. You have a legitimate rock star on the call with us who's willing to share with you anything you would like to know about not only surviving but thriving in a challenging market. Jeff, what do you say to agents?
Yeah, and so I think you kind of answered this one earlier, Jeff, but just to make sure, Rob was asking, like, do you leave a message when not contacting the lead? So if the lead doesn't pick up, do you leave a message on the phone? So I just want to make sure we answered that one for him.
Yeah, 100%. Because, you know, if you call and hang up and then they have your number and you just call and hang up and call and hang up, you're going to seem like a robocaller, or you're going to look, you know, annoying. Yeah, that's your opportunity to leave a message. Let them hear your voice and let them hear what you're offering them, what your value proposition is. That's your first shot to get it. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that voicemail. And some people don't even listen to their voicemail. But, you know, when it does come on, yes, 110%. Have a delivery. It could be a script, but just keep an authentic message to get them to call you back.
I think it's funny.
So I have a question. So do you ever sing when you leave your message, or have your guitar out and play?
God, no.
Okay. All right.
Then they would hang up on me because our music was pretty heavy, so it'd probably scare the shit out of them. So
You know, it's funny. It's funny. A lot of people say don't leave a message, call them back, send them a text. I like that you don't take yourself too seriously. You just want to be you. Hey, man, you inquired on a property. I'm following up. I just want to let you know who I am, and this is what we do, and give me a call back. And people call you back.
and because also you just kind of left the premise and like, oh, that sounds like a nice person. And even if they don't, when you make that, if they don't pick it up or call you back the second time you call, you already kind of laid the tracks. You know, they're like, oh yeah, that guy. Okay, cool, whatever. You know, so yeah, leave the message for sure.
Awesome. All
Love
right.
that.
Well, I don't see any other questions popping up there. You know, we are, just so everyone knows, we are going to go ahead. We did record this. We will ensure that everyone receives a copy of the link. And in addition, we'll make sure everyone gets the link to Verl's downloads if perhaps we're watching this in a replay mode and, you know, didn't scan the QR code or it wasn't up there. So we'll go ahead and make sure you guys get that taken care of. I want to say a huge thank you to both of you. Verl, was really awesome to have your insights and your strategy, and then Jeff to have someone who's been the one implementing, you know, these strategies and share your experiences has been super powerful for our audience today. So I want to say a huge thank you to both of you.
Thanks for having us. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right. So hey guys, we'll be back in 2 weeks. If I found this helpful, please share it. And if you have any ideas, definitely hit us up on our support below, and we'll see you next week or 2 weeks from now. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.